royal family will travel to the US to celebrate America's 250th birthday. But Kinsey, it looks like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will be iced out.
They called her Hollywood's Duchess, but now even Hollywood's not picking up her calls.
If you are going to call this institution so toxic, then make your own lane and stop cashing in off of your association with them.
Once upon a time, Meghan Markle thought she'd rewritten the royal rulebook. The woman who outsmarted the palace, captured a prince, and traded tiaras for talk shows.
He's done a lot for Meghan. Meghan's done nothing for him. And so you can thank Meghan for this to be the bottom layer of their relationship.
But in 2025, that fairy tale has curdled faster than last week's jam from her own American Riviera orchard. Because when news broke that both upcoming royal US tours would feature King Charles, Queen Camilla, William, and Kate, but not Meghan and Harry, even her fiercest fans couldn't spin it.
Apparently, King Charles is not going to make a detour to go to Montecito, and it's unlikely that Harry will go and join him, because what will then happen, he will dominate the headlines.
The message was clear. The monarchy just RSVP'd no to Montecito. And what did America say? Finally, behind the yoga poses, podcast pitches, and glossy photo ops lies a truth even Meghan's PR team can't contour away. The empire she tried to build in California has quietly crumbled. Hollywood's elite are shifting their attention back to the real royals, while Meghan's brand feels like a reality show that never got renewed.
Oh my God, it's like I'm in a bathroom. Smell that, baby.
Put this in food.
You're supposed to put that on food as a...
Wait, let me see. And eat this?
Yeah.
It's
They once told her she'd stolen the spotlight. Now she can't even rent it. But this snub isn't just about a canceled invite. It's a calculated move, years in the making. And the palace didn't even have to lift a finger. Because as we're about to uncover, Meghan Markle's greatest enemy was never the crown. It was relevance itself.
Your daddy's dying and you're putting broccoli dip or whatever the rubbish that is. There's the priorities of this woman. What's wrong with her?
It started like any other royal headline until one missing detail changed everything. Page 6 dropped the bombshell first. 2 major US royal tours planned for 2026, one led by King Charles and Queen Camilla, the other by Prince William and Princess Kate. The British monarchy was returning to America in full force to celebrate the nation's 250th independence anniversary. But there was one name suspiciously absent from every press release, every insider quote, every official itinerary.
Meghan Markle are set to be left out in the cold, lots of people are saying. And basically because they are no longer working royals. That's the main sort of reason they're not going to be there.
Meghan Markle, not a whisper, not a mention, not even a pity nod to the California branch. And that silence, that was the loudest message the palace could possibly send. Royal insiders described it as strategic dignity. Translation, we're done pretending. After years of interviews, tell-alls, and Netflix confessionals, the royals simply moved on, without drama, without comment, and most importantly, without her. Meanwhile, Meghan's PR team scrambled to reframe the narrative. But how do you spin being excluded from your own country's royal visit?
Prince William and Princess Kate will be in America in July, while King Charles and Queen Camilla will travel in April, as long as the King's health is okay.
Even the American press, once her playground, reported it as a deliberate distancing. The woman who once said she was building a new legacy just got left off the guest list for history. But what the palace did next turned this quiet exclusion into a masterclass in power and perception, one that would leave Meghan's team completely blindsided. Because this wasn't just a snub, it was an erasure. What looked like a simple scheduling omission quickly revealed something far colder, a royal strategy executed with surgical precision. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a cleanup operation.
Meghan is a jamfluencer. Do they belong there, Rita? Do they really belong there?
While Meghan's team was still emailing clarifications to lifestyle magazines, Buckingham Palace moved like a PR ghost, calm, calculated, and utterly silent. No statements, no rebuttals, no sources close to the couple, just an unspoken message written between the lines of every official announcement. They don't exist in this story anymore, and the media caught on fast. What began as confusion, why weren't they invited, flipped overnight into ridicule. Why would they be? Tabloids that once fed on Meghan's drama suddenly lost their appetite. Morning shows mocked the snub with polite chuckles, and royal commentators called it the cleanest break since Megxit. Even fans started noticing the shift. Social feeds filled with side-by-side comparisons, Kate dazzling at state banquets, Meghan promoting jam jars like a suburban influencer. The contrast wasn't subtle, it was surgical. The palace didn't need to attack, it simply outshone her. And in doing so, it reclaimed the one thing Meghan thought she had taken forever, America's attention.
We have been watching Meghan Markle rewrite her history Harry for almost 10 years now. And Thomas Markle is one of the people that can confirm or deny her version of events. That's why she tries to discredit her family, and that's why she's ashamed of them and doesn't want to give them a platform or invite them into her life.
But the story was only getting started, because while the monarchy glided forward, Meghan's world in California began to quietly crumble from the inside. And what fell apart next wasn't her image, it was her influence. For years, Meghan believed Hollywood would always be her sanctuary, the one place that understood her, celebrated her, needed her. But in 2025, the spotlight she counted on suddenly burned out. The same A-listers who once filled her guest lists began ghosting her invites. Producers stopped taking meetings. The glossy magazine covers dried up, replaced by polite silence. Hollywood didn't cancel Meghan, it simply forgot her. And in this town, that's far worse. When news of the royal US wars hit, the elite didn't rally behind the Sussexes. They prepared their wardrobes for William and Kate's arrival. George and Amal, Spielberg, even Oprah, all rumored to be aligning with the official royal events. The red carpets Meghan once dreamed of owning were now reserved for the royals she left behind.
I have no sympathy. Yes, she should give up. She should give up because she sold the world a pup. None of us buy in to what she is selling. And also, she's just really goddamn terrible at it.
Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that Meghan's brand fatigue had set in. Too many speeches, too few results. The mystique was gone. Even her so-called relatable Duchess persona had turned into a meme. Every smile looked rehearsed. Every appearance felt like a comeback attempt, but the audience had already moved on. Hollywood runs on momentum, and Meghan's had stopped. Still, one final card remained up her sleeve, a risky move she hoped would reclaim her narrative. But when she played it, the backlash wasn't just brutal, it was career-altering. Desperation breeds creativity, and in Meghan Markle's world, it bred another rebrand. After months of silence, she emerged with what was billed as her most authentic project yet, a lifestyle reboot, a heartfelt video, a soft-spoken promise that this time it's not about fame. But the internet wasn't buying it. The announcement of her new brand, another wellness meets luxury hybrid, landed with the energy of a reboot nobody asked for. Critics mocked the timing, fans called it tone-deaf, and one headline summed it up perfectly: the Duchess of Disconnection.
Everything she touches turns to shit. And I think every sort of creative person behind her or deep pocket behind her knows it's an extraordinary risk. She's too toxic to touch.
Her glossy rollout was met with polite yawns. Gone were the days when a Meghan post could dominate the feed. Even the tabloids, once obsessed with every outfit and eyebrow raise, gave her launch a half-inch mention under entertainment briefs. The cruel twist? She tried to play the humble comeback card just as the royal tours were stealing America's heart. While Kate charmed crowds in New York, Meghan was trying to sell jam and candles online. The contrast was painful and impossible to ignore. In chasing authenticity, she found apathy. And as her new era fizzled out, insiders claimed the mood in Montecito turned heavy. For the first time, even Harry looked unsure where to stand, next to his wife's crumbling empire or in the shadow of the crown he'd walked away from. But the storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. What began as liberation had quietly morphed into loneliness. The couple who once vowed to build their own future were now living in a gilded echo chamber, surrounded by luxury, but starved of purpose. Harry, once the rebellious heart of the monarchy, now looked like a man caught between worlds, too royal for Hollywood, too Hollywood for royalty. His memoir's echo had faded, and his voice, once defiant, now sounded tired. The sparkle that once sold interviews had dimmed into weary silence.
Why is he desperately trying to get back into the royal family and work with them? You can see that he's not responsible to doing that at all. You can't have someone who's going off piece and then sort of making mockery of anybody.
For Meghan, the isolation cut even deeper. The media empire she dreamed of leading had shrunk to filtered selfies and product placements. The empowerment narrative that once electrified audiences had dissolved into irony. A duchess preaching authenticity from a mansion guarded by staff. Even their inner circle began to thin. Former friends avoided public associations. Former allies drifted away. What was meant to be a new chapter had turned into an extended pause. Every attempt to reclaim attention only underlined the distance they'd created. Freedom was supposed to be their victory, but it felt more like exile. And in that stillness, the cruelest truth emerged. The royal family didn't need to fight them to win. They simply outlasted them. Yet just when it seemed like the Sussex saga had hit its lowest point, the palace unveiled a move so symbolic, so strategic, it erased any doubt about who truly held the crown. When the royal jets touched down on American soil, it wasn't just a visit, it was a statement. Cameras flashed, flags waved, and the headlines wrote themselves: the royals returned. King Charles's speeches drew respect. Queen Camilla exuded composure. But it was William and Kate who stole the show. Their elegance wasn't forced, it felt effortless. From charity galas to state dinners, every frame radiated the stability the monarchy had fought to restore. America was spellbound all over again. Networks scrambled for coverage. Influencers live streamed their appearances, and talk shows buzzed about about their charm. The same media that once championed Meghan's Hollywood fairy tale now treated her like an afterthought.
Meghan have spent the last nearly 6 years disrespecting both parties involved here. At one point, they accused the royal family of racism, and Harry once said on a phone call with who he thought was Greta Thunberg that President Trump had blood on his hands. Harry has become allegedly a pot-smoking, pay-for-play royal speaking at a Hilton in Toronto next week. And
even more brutal, the palace never mentioned her name, not once. No need to. Their mere presence rewrote the narrative she tried to own. For the Sussexes watching from Montecito, it must have felt like deja vu, the spotlight slipping away again. But this time, there was no scandal, no feud, no interview to reclaim it. The royal family had achieved the impossible. They had won back America's affection without saying a single word. This was soft power at its peak, diplomacy wrapped in pageantry, elegance used as strategy. And when the tours ended, one truth rang louder than any headline. The crown didn't just survive the storm. It took back the kingdom Meghan thought she'd claim. Outside the royal palaces and California mansions, something remarkable happened. The world simply moved on. The drama that once dominated every news cycle had lost its spark. The tears, the interviews, the accusations, they all started to sound like reruns of a show that ended seasons ago. In London, people debated policy, not palace gossip. In America, the fascination shifted back to William and Kate, now seen as symbols of continuity and class. And online, the once fierce Sussex squad shrank into silence, their hashtags echoing into digital dust. Even the global press, once addicted to every royal whisper, began treating Harry and Meghan like background characters in a story they no longer led. Their brand of rebellion had expired, replaced by a craving for authenticity that didn't need cameras or confessionals.
First time in
Meghan Markle would leave Harry for better when he is no longer useful to her, but I don't think that Harry would ever leave Meghan. I think he was so traumatized by his parents' split that he would never want to do something like that to his own children.
The irony? Meghan wanted to modernize the monarch, but the monarchy modernized itself faster than she could monetize it. Every grand statement she made was outpaced by quiet royal action. Every bombshell she dropped fizzled against the crown's calm endurance. The world's verdict became clear. Respect outlasts rebellion. And as the global spotlight drifted away, what remained was the silence of two people who mistook attention for influence, only to realize the two were never the same thing. But if history has shown us anything, it's this. The crown always finds a way to shine again. And that's where the story stands. A tale of pride, power, and poetic justice. The palace didn't shout. It didn't fight. It simply moved forward, leaving behind a silence that spoke volumes. Meanwhile, across the ocean, the echoes of that royal rejection still linger, whispered in headlines, dissected in talk shows, and felt in the halls of Hollywood. The snub wasn't just personal. It was symbolic, a moment that drew a line between legacy and limelight, and reminded everyone that the crown doesn't compete, it endures. But here's the thing about royal storms. They never end quietly. There's always another chapter, another twist, another revelation waiting in the shadows. If you missed our previous breakdown on this saga, the one where we uncovered about how Samantha Markle finally reveals the truth on Meghan's hysterectomy that exploded across America, you'll want to go back and watch that next. It connects every piece of this royal chess game. This is Star Spotlight, where fame meets fallout and truth wears a crown. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned because the next move in this royal drama might be the one nobody saw coming. Here, every spotlight reveals what the headlines don't.